We are live. StableDuel live stream tonight. We are going to be talking all about the big Preakness Challenge contest. $20,000 up for grabs in that big one. Joining me right now, he is a few cocktails in from StableDuel. You know him, the main man, Beho Brian Howard. What's up, buddy?
Man, I just need this one horse to get home for the last leg of this big four in the golden hour, and we're going to be golden.
And we got Blackjack Fletcher joining us. Blackjack, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Gino. That's my ticket, you son of a bitch. I played that thing if this single gets home. It's going to be the greatest day we've had in a long time. We got $52 on the first leg of this thing. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm standing here in Lexington, Kentucky, one of the most beautiful places on God's green earth, Gino. Drinking a red old-fashioned. I don't know how they made it red, but they
that's
did.
Weird. Yeah.
Okay, so
it's great, man. Gino, I'm just living.
You guys are already having fun today, but tomorrow is when we're all going to be having a lot of fun because, wow, I mean, we're looking at the slate. First off, there's a free ride. So if you don't have a whole lot of cash, if you can't get, a bunch because maybe you lost a few weeks ago at the Derby, maybe even you're a little bitter, you don't want to necessarily play, but you want to get involved, you want some action, free roll, Beho. I mean, what are you guys doing just giving away money for free?
I don't know. They're crazy over here sometimes.
How you going to have a job anymore?
We have a drink or two at Mirror Twin, and, next thing you know, we're just giving away money.
I'm going to give away more money. I'm going to give away more money here, Gino. We have a contest at BetterThan.Vegas, which you're a part of, Gino. You're a part of this family. So is Brian. We're all a big family here at BetterThan.Vegas. If you enter any StableDuel contest tomorrow on Preakness Day, and you go and post a video on Better Than Vegas with your stable name in the description, whoever does the best out of that group will receive $250.
So additional. Totally free to enter.
Totally free.
Totally free. All you do is... So, I mean, we got free contest at StableDuel, and then if you enter the big contest at StableDuel and you post to BTV, there's a free contest there in addition. So there are all these incentives to play along in the big contest this weekend. We're going to take you through them a little bit. So, Beho, Blackjack, I know you guys are having fun tonight, so I'm only going to make you stay for a few minutes. So that way you guys can have some more drinks. But give us a couple thoughts on the Preakness tomorrow in general. Beho, do you have a horse or anything you like? Go for it.
We're all on the same horse here, man. You can hate on Baffert all you want, but Concert Tour by a pole.
Deej, where are you at?
Blackjack?
Blackjack?
Blackjack, who's your horse, man?
Yeah, Gino, for me, it's Concert Tour. I think Concert Tour is the class of this field by a considerable amount. I think he's literally just faster than these horses. Like, I think if he wants the front, he'll get it. If he wants to rate, he can do that and make a move when they hit the far turn. Concert Tour is the most talented horse in this race by a considerable amount to me. I don't think it's close. It's Concert Tour by a lot.
So Concert Tour, obviously, as we look at the StableDuel graphics here, would cost you $8,500 to use in your StableDuel lineup. The number 10, 5-2 on the morning line. And, I mean, we think this is going to be not worth it or worth it? No?
No, I think it's well worth it.
Yeah, well worth it, right? Well worth it with the odds and the possibility that this horse can clear from the outside.
Horse can clear from the outside and win by as much as he wants.
And we get a look here at Concert Tour and what Concert Tour would look like in your StableDuel lineup. So remember, everything's based on salary cap. So when you're building your lineup, this is what it will look like as you put your lineup together. So here is the field for the Preakness. You've got Medina Spirit, 9,200 as your 9-5 morning line favorite. You've got Concert Tour, who Blackjack mentioned, who Beho mentioned, 8,500 at 5-2. So I think this is a race where if you're going to have to spend up, Beho, I agree with you. I think it's probably Concert Tour in this one.
That's right, man. Let's get this one horse home in the final leg.
Okay, Brian, thank you so much, buddy. Good luck to finish things off. Tell Blackjack thank you so much, and we look forward to talking to you tomorrow, man. Thanks.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Okay, we're going to bring in Mike Langthorne from ClassicCars.com. Mike, how you doing, man? We're going to get Beho out of here. We're going to talk a little Preakness, a little classic cars, man. How things going?
Doing well, Gino. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Brian didn't want to leave there, man.
I know.
I'm jealous. I got to be honest. I wish I was at Mirror Twin Brewing with them, rooting home that pick for him. But hopefully that comes in. Appreciate you having me on today.
So let's talk a little bit about ClassicCars.com, and then we'll start talking about the Preakness. Tell us everything that you can about Classic Cars. What is it? Give us the information. How did it become, and what can we find there?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're ClassicCars.com. We're the world's largest classic and collector car marketplace. We welcome in roughly 4.5 million monthly sessions to the website. We have nearly 40,000 vehicles available for sale at any given time. Just been a phenomenal run over the course of the past several years, and continuing to just to tack on and apply pressure, and continuing to ride out the momentum. Underneath the Collector Car Network umbrella, we also ushered in a new business line, a new business unit, which is online auctions. That company is Auto Hunter. We're really excited about that. And in fact, there's been some conversation about how we may be able to work with StableDuel in some charitable endeavors that we may be able to introduce at some point. So excited about potentially talking about that in the future, but really enjoy the relationship with StableDuel. Bree and the rest of the team have really been phenomenal. It's just it's a perfect marriage between two companies that deal in horsepower, right?
Exactly. We're looking at the website right here for ClassicCars.com. So, wow, some absolute beauts. And
Gino, you'd look good in a few of those, buddy.
Right? I was gonna say, give me one of these Mustangs. Like, give me the older Ford Mustang, sure, or the Thunderbird. Thank you very much. Yeah, like Gone in 60 Seconds. Absolutely. I'm right here in Long Beach, man. So that was right. That was like all filmed right around here. I see all those that movie all the time, and all the places where they were filming that. So, okay, Mike, we need anything else from Classic Cars that you want to get out there, that you want to mention? Let the people on the live stream know why it's so unique, so different, and then we're going to get into some Preakness.
Yeah, I mean, just a phenomenal buy-sell marketplace. If you're an enthusiast of classic and collector vehicles, we have something that certainly would satisfy your appetite. So would appreciate you coming by, checking out some of the vehicles that we have available for sale. And hopefully you'll be driving your dream soon. Okay,
Mike, now let's get to the good stuff. So big week. You and I were talking before we started the live stream. Big week this week, obviously, with Preakness. And unfortunately, it wasn't quite what everybody would hoped with the second leg of the second jewel of the Triple Crown with the Preakness, all the news going on. So what did you think just as a horse player? And then as we get into what's next, we'll handicap the race a little bit. But overall, how did you kind of feel when you heard this news throughout the week or so?
Yeah, I mean, obviously didn't feel too great about what happened with Medina Spirit, right? Like we were talking about before the show. It's a great game. And, unfortunately, when these types of stories come up, you're going to get mainstream media that's going to talk about it. It's going to talk about the sport in a really bad light. And rightfully so, assuming that this is how some of these things ultimately come back. Just a really unfortunate situation with Medina Spirit, and obviously what happened with Bob Baffert. And, hopefully this is something that you can kind of move past and get through. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's got to be a better way to be able to handle some of these things and make sure that we avoid this going forward, because such a stage like the Kentucky Derby, everybody's got eyes on. Everybody's got eyes on the Triple Crown. And unfortunately, the narrative that's carrying through is not the pursuit of the Triple Crown, but for, dirty moves, dirty play. So, not great. I talked about a bad ticket that I had. I got a bad beat on that one. There was some opportunity there. Who knows what the complexity, the complexion of that race would have looked like had Medina Spirit not gone gate to wire. Would Mandaloun really have run second? Did he need that type of pace to be able to be set in order to position himself to get into a spot to potentially win the Derby? We won't know, but just a really unfortunate set of events. There's really no other way to put it,
Okay, so well, this weekend we're going to be diving into this big StableDuel contest. There are 14 races. It's $100 to enter this big contest. So we're going to need some major points late in the card. And the 13th race on the card is the Preakness, and then after that, it's actually Arabian race. So this will probably be the last race for a lot of people playing in the contest. You said that you were going to maybe take a little bit of a shot here. So who would you look to play in the Preakness this weekend?
Yeah, so I mean, here's the thing. When I typically go through and try and look for who's my play in any particular race, I try and look for progression based off of speed figures, right? So I'll look at the most recent 3 races that they had, and we'll try and compare buyer figures throughout those 3 races. Now, I understand every race is unique, and it depends, like I just mentioned before, pace can really dictate where some of the speed comes from. But that's typically something that I key in on. In looking at buyer speed figures, specifically through DRF in this case, only one horse would actually meet the criteria of having seen buyer speed figures with progression race over the course of the past 3 races. And that horse is coming out of the 1 gate Ram at 30 to 1.
Look at that Ram.
We're talking about, I mean, we need Wayne Lucas to jump in there. He'd be going for his, I think, record-setting 7th Preakness Stakes victory if that were to take place. This is a huge, huge step up in class for Ram. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to do this. I typically don't like anybody coming out of that 1 position anyways, especially in types, in large fields. You tend to get pinned. You got to get out. Maybe Santana can move him out, but that's where I am. Now, buyer speed figures say that there's only 1 horse, again, based off of my criteria to try and select, would be Ram. If you look at Briz figures, I don't know what you like better, if you like DRF or Briz, but if you were to look at Briznet, they actually have Ram, Unbridled, Honor, and Medina Spirit that technically would qualify. So if you wanted to get creative here, you could go with Ram on a nice little win play. Obviously, you'd be cashing a pretty hefty ticket there, depending upon what the multiple is that you put down. But if you wanted to spread it out, here's my other play. The $1 try box with 5 horses. I go Ram, Unbridled Honor, Medina Spirit, Concert Tour, which Beho and Blackjack were all about, and Midnight Bourbon. That's a $60 ticket, but, if you get some prices to come in there, you're going to be able to cash on that.
Yeah.
Bit unorthodox on a 5-horse try box, but what the hell? It's the Preakness.
It really does feel like the 2 Bafferts and maybe Midnight Bourbon, like on paper, they're more accomplished. You take them out of the race and everyone else feels the same, right? A little bit of improvement, they could jump right into the exotics. If you could somehow just get Ram to take another step forward and, the rest of this field just sort of runs sort of static, this horse could really spice things up. And in a StableDuel situation, like we were just talking about, I mean, you're looking at a horse like Ram, who at that huge price is only $50 at 30 to 1. That's just a great.
I mean, it is a tremendous step up in class. I don't think he's ever raced against stakes competition. He was out yesterday or today. I mean, they took him on a pretty easy jaunt around. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about, I think morning line is at 31. At post time, I have no idea what those odds are going to look like, but they're certainly going to be favorable from a power mutual standpoint if you decide to pony up a few bucks on that, because it's just not, this is the ultra contrarian play. I also have another, bad habit is that I will also submarine some picks. So, for those that are listening, you may want to just automatically tell some of these people that I've mentioned. But it's going to be fun. We'll see how everything turns out. Excited about jumping into the contest tomorrow. I'll certainly be jumping into that. I think there may be some other folks within ClassicCars.com where sponsoring the contest. So we're excited about being able to participate. And maybe depending upon how everything shakes out towards the end of the stream here, we can get everybody on a little side bet to see what happens, and pony up a few bucks on that side. So
absolutely. I will hope that it's a big weekend for me, because then I'm going to go right to Classic Cars and see where I fit.
Get you in that Mustang that you were eyeing.
see where we could slide me right on in. Mike, I hope you have a great weekend. Best of luck. And the partnership between you and StableDuel has just been great. Like you said, the horsepower, it just makes sense. People want to go fast. People want to drive fast, and that's what they're doing there, classiccars.com. So thank you so much for joining us. Let's get Ram home.
Thanks,
I think I'll hear you rooting Ram home. If this horse is anywhere near the wire, I'm going to listen in. I'm going to do the Hulk Hogan. I'll be listening because I can probably hear you from wherever you're at.
Absolutely. Gino, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Mike. So great to have Mike Langthorne there on here with us on the live stream. So we will have some guests joining me throughout. But first off, I wanted to set a couple things up for you, just for some folks who don't play StableDuel all that often. Maybe you've never played before. Maybe you're curious, what exactly is StableDuel? What are you talking about here? Well, we can give you a little look at what StableDuel looks like from the front of the app right here, okay? So here is your lobby at StableDuel, and this is basically what it looks like. This is my StableDuel account. So this is my individual rank, my points, everything. You can click right here to start a new game. You can click on your profile. It'll tell you everything that you have going on. And then across the bottom, the lobby, the tracks, how to play, your stables, game support if you need that at all. Another tab on StableDuel, you can find all the available tracks for every contest they have. So when you click on tracks, you'll see Gulfstream, Santa Anita, Golden Gate, Lone Star, Pimlico, all are tracks there where there are StableDuel contests coming up over the next few days, which is the weekend. This was from last night, so there are more stables in here. But for an example, if you're just curious what contest you could play on Saturday at Pimlico, you click on Saturday, Pimlico, and boom, here they come up. There's a Preakness free ride, there's a Preakness double up, and then there is the big one, the Preakness challenge with classiccars.com, $100 to enter, $20,000 in prizes in that pool. So once you've created your stables, then right here it'll show you what stables you have. So for me, I have not completed a couple of my free ride stables yet, so it'll let you know you need to fix your stables before you complete them, and then you get in the mix. One more time, back to the lobby is where you can find everything you need right here. So we will do our best to kind of duck in and out throughout the broadcast and show you different races, different tracks, show you some of the prices and what it really looks like as you're building your StableDuel lineup. Remember, these are daily contests and it's based on a salary cap, $50,000 salary cap. You pick 10 horses throughout. So Thomas Kearney, nice to hear from Thomas, says he's going to go with Lackey in the Maryland Sprint. Said it worked in the last Preakness free ride. So going to go with Lackey in the Maryland Sprint. Let's pull that one up for you, Thomas. I've got the Maryland Sprint here. So we've got Lackey as a $5,000 play at 6-1 on the morning line for you right there, Thomas. So best of luck there, Thomas. If you want to give us a little reason why you like Lackey, you can sure let us know. Throughout the next hour or so, we will have Barry Spears joining us. He's going to give us a couple plays, and then he will also give his thoughts on the Preakness. We're going to have Gabe Vartanian joining me in just a few minutes from Live and Breathe Horse Racing Group. Shout out to everyone listening, watching over on Facebook there. Andrew Champagne, my good buddy, is going to join in just a little bit. Alton Buzzle will also be joining us, and Matt Sortino also going to join us from the In the Bit podcast. So we will have some guests coming in over the next hour or so, and we look forward to chatting with everyone and continuing to handicap this card as we move along through. So I'm going to go through some of my selections throughout the card, some horses who I think that you probably want to use on your StableDuel lineups that you want to use, no doubt. Let's get to race number 3. And we will start with Hemp. Yeah, smoke him if you got him. Little Hemp. So Hemp, who we can see is only going to cost us $500 because of that 15-1 morning line. Hemp is a horse who can pass horses. That's what I like about Hemp in this particular race. You look at the 2 Mighty Mischief, you're going to get some pace there. You look at Jackson Traveler, who is going to be an overwhelming favorite and would cost you $11,000 to use in your StableDuel lineup. Jackson Traveler, going to give you some pace. And then from the outside, Willie Boy, going to be giving you some pace. I think Hemp, who we'll probably be getting that like middle of the pack, just a few lengths off type trip. Hemp, for me, in race number 3, is one of those, I think, must-use horses in your stable duel lineup because the price, right? Only having to go pay $500 in this particular race will give you the opportunity to really, really spread out later, and you won't have to spend up quite as much. I believe we have one of our next guests to join us, and it's actually going to be our first guest that's going to share some stable duel analysis with us. Anytime he joins me on my shows, on That's What G Said podcast, he's always the leadoff hitter because this man is Ricky Henderson. This is Barry Spears, urban handicapper, the sniper. He joins me. Barry, buddy, how you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on? Sounds like you're really worked up. You're excited over there, man.
Oh yeah, we got a big day at Stable Duel. My focus is going to be on these contests because I think we can really make some big money at $8,500 to the winner of this thing in a $20,000 contest. So what's wrong with turning 100 into 8,500? We'll take it, right?
All day, twice on Sunday.
So Barry is a good friend of mine, a really good handicapper. I'm sure you see him a lot on social media out there. One of the nicer guys that you'll meet also, and he's a fan of the Stable Duel game. You see him in there. Is that your stable name is the Sniper, right?
Absolutely.
Yep, you see him climbing the ranks, and I believe you just had a big victory last night. Is that right?
Yeah, I won last night. It was a free roll. 450 people or so in there.
Hell yeah! Those are the hardest
Charlestown.
ones.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlestown too, which is not like my best track, but I gave it a shot and I won.
Nice. Hell yeah. So, Barry, I asked you and all of the guests coming on after you to give me like 3 plays throughout the card that you like, and maybe one of them that was sort of a bigger price that was like 8-1 or over. So that way, when people are building their lineups, they can actually use a couple of them. Because that's the one thing about Stable Duel. When you build a lineup, you can't go chalk. It just will not allow you to do so.
No, and the thing is you obviously know the way I play the races. I'm dead set against chalk almost every time, unless it's one you just can't avoid. So a lot of the 3 picks that I have are pretty decent price and allow you the funds or the bankroll, so you could play a horse like Mean Mary later on in the card, or somebody like that, with more of your little bankroll that you have when you make picks in Stable Duel.
Okay, so 3 plays for Barry. Where are we gonna head for your first one?
Race 5.
Okay, let's go to race number 5 and tell us who you have and why you like him.
The 7 horse Sugar Daddy.
Okay.
I think that this horse is really on the improve. I know he's been off since February, but Claudio Gonzalez is, the best on that circuit. He knows where to place his horses, and he gets a lot of victories. There's not very much in this race as far as competition. The horse on the inside, the 2, looks like will probably be the favorite, but is a closer, just a dead closer.
Stone cold closer. No speed at all.
Exactly. And I try to find these horses to bet against all day long. So this is a good spot. Plus he's got Rosario, Ron Moquette. I think he's just going to get over bet. But the 7, just as a for pace dynamics, looks like this horse should get a good trip. He's faster than the 2 horses or 3 horses outside of him.
Yep.
And there's some quick horses inside of him, so I think this is going to be an ideal trip, and we'll be able to get first run on the leaders. And I think this horse is going to be a real good pick, even if he finishes second.
Yeah,
it'll probably kind of boost everybody's score if they decide to use this horse. He's 10-1 on the morning line, so you're gonna get a break there with the price. So I think we're all right.
And tactically, like you said, I think feels like he's going to work out a perfect trip, right? And just fall into a nice spot, maybe 3rd, 4th, but enough positional speed. So if they do go a little faster, he doesn't have to get outrun, and stay within striking range. And you're looking for this horse, like maybe he gets bet down a bit and he's like 6-7-1 because he's sort of got a nice style. That's perfect in Stable Duel, right? Because it's kind of the opposite what we are looking for, when we're betting normally. If you're looking at a horse and you can kind of project that maybe they're going to get bet down, you want to go elsewhere. But in StableDuel, that's perfect because you're only selecting horses and you're only paying for horses based on their morning line.
Correct. And that's what I try to do a lot of the time is kind of look for horses that will get bet, even though their morning line's a little bit high, so they can come down. They probably have a better shot than their morning line. So that's the key here. But yeah, I'm actually excited to see this horse run tomorrow.
Sugar Daddy, the number 7, Sugar Daddy in race number 5. That's the first of Barry's picks. Where are we heading for your second one, Barry?
Race number 9.
Let's go to race.
Skip Hat.
Race number 9, the Skip It. Okay, who we looking at in the 9th?
This is the one that I'm throwing downfield. This is my my Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski. The Call on Mischief, the 7.
There we go. Okay, why we playing Call on Mischief? Luis Saez aboard for Kelly Breen.
Well, I've been kind of keeping track of this horse for a little bit. His last race, or her last race, I'm sorry. She caught a track that I didn't believe that she liked very much. She ran behind Club Car, who's actually in this race. And I don't think she really took a hold of the track. I mean, she had another, I think it was a wet track or good track race that didn't pan out so well. But geez, I just think that she just needed to get back to doing what she does best, and that's what she's doing here. In fact, I had the impression that race was a prep for this one, just based on where it was placed. But yeah, she's another one that may fall into a pretty good trip here. I think she's going to outbreak the 8 French Empire, who's outside of her. So she's going to be able to maneuver to where she wants to be because there's speed directly to her inside. With Don't Let Sweet fool you. That horse is quick. Chub Wagon is very, very fast as well.
Yep.
So I'm expecting a nice pace here for her to kind of stalk into. And if she gets first run, look out because she's going to run.
See, and this is one thing that I think I really like when you find price horses and some of the price horses that you're looking for, because what do we want, right? We don't necessarily want a horse who's a stone cold closer, right? Because if they're not quite as classy and they're going to have to come from way out of it and pass the whole field, that's probably going to be a tough task. We don't necessarily always want a horse that's just a one-dimensional speed horse because maybe they get pressed and they pop and they stop and then they're done. But with a horse like this, with their running style again, you feel like these are the type of horses who they are able to kind of outrun their odds a lot of times because they get those beneficial trips, right? I say fall into it. I don't mean it in a negative way. It's just that's what I'm looking for a lot of times in racing. I want a horse who's right there, who might be able to just stalk, pounce, jump. The other horses come closing, and they get the head start on them. And in StableDuel, a situation like this, you get a 15-1 horse who just hits the board, finishes 3rd or 4th, picks you up some points. And just like you said, you can afford to spend up on a Mean Mary or someone later on.
Exactly, and that's what I'm kind of looking for ideally with horses that I select. There's some horses you just can't avoid, like Mean Mary. I think that horse would be solid as a favorite to pick, but that's basically like 10,000 of your bankroll. So it's like, oh, well, what are you going to do after that? So horses like this can definitely improve your spot. And even if you use 2 in the same race, which, sometimes you're forced to, depending on the situation, a horse like this would be ideal because they can, complete an exacta. And then you're right in the thick of things when you get 2 horses, a winner, and then a horse that finishes second. One other note on Call of Mischief, she had a bullet on May 8th. 1 out of 17. So I think she's cranked up, ready to go.
Okay, Call on Mischief, play number 2, and same sort of thing, right? Like, even if this line is a bit high and this horse is like 8-10-1, that's perfect in StableDuel.
Exactly.
Like, that's what we're looking for, because then you paid for an 8 or 10-1 shot instead of a 15-1 shot. Boom, win or lose, you're on the up and up, right? Like, you got the value there, and you already feel like you get the best, like the best advantage. And if you continue to do that every race, every day, every bet you make, you're gonna be on the right end of it in the long run.
Exactly. It's just all about strategy and how you plan out everything. And that's one of the keys with StableDuel, because, it's a little bit more than predicting the races, because you got to predict how, people are going to play
Other
certain
people are going to
horses.
play. Yeah.
Right. And it adds a whole nother wrinkle and a whole nother level to the game that's very, very exciting.
So one more to go for Sniper Barry Spears. Where are we heading for your final play?
We are headed to the 11th race, the Maryland Sprint Match Series, Grade 3.
Okay, who we headed to in this one?
I like the rail horse, Locky. And, what's funny is it was for the reasons that we were just talking about. I think this horse is probably going to get bet down a little bit off the 6-1 morning line. This horse likes this track. This horse likes this circuit. He won a Grade 3 last year. He's a little on the older side at 8, but he can still get it done. I mean, his first race off the bench after a few months layoff was very, very good and a perfect prep for this. So I'm looking for that horse to just kind of work out a trip. Curamata rides him like nobody else. And I think this horse has a really, really good shot to win here. Again, another race without any really overpowering horses here. And I'm going to side with the home team.
Yeah, I had 1, 3, and 5 as horses who I looked at as based on where you are with your lineup, right? The rest of the races. Who can you afford to use in this particular spot between them? And so those are horses who I would be using in a lot of rolling exotics. When we handicap the races, a lot of the time we see things pretty similarly. It's one thing I've noticed.
No, it's every time. It's crazy.
I know. We do. So I was like, we're cheating off each other's homework or something because a lot of times we have very similar kind of ideas of what the pace will look like or how the race is going to shape up. So, Barry, before we let you go, do you have any like overall thought on the Preakness, a pick, or do you think it's going to be chalky? Anything crazy in there?
Oh, I'm full of opinions now.
Yeah, always, right? Always.
Yeah, I kind of like Medina Spirit. I don't think there's a whole lot in this race, to be honest with you.
True.
But if I were going to take a flyer on a horse that's kind of flying a little under the radar, I think he's actually going to get bet a little bit, is Risk Taking.
Yeah, that's my long shot play too, and that's a great StableDuel play, right?
Absolutely, at 15-1 morning line.
Maybe he's 8 or 9.
Right?
If you
exactly.
just put a line right through the wood and just toss the wood and look at his progression, after his 2 victories, like after the Withers, 1 step forward after the Withers, and he's right here in the mix with them. So yeah, he's to me the not quote obvious horse that I would try to include and get into some of the exotics.
Exactly. That's what I'm always looking for.
We're in trouble again, huh? We're in trouble again. We're on the same one. Barry, let everybody know where can we follow you out there on social media. I know you are part of a really cool podcast out there too. Give us some of your plugs before we let you go.
Absolutely. I'm on the Going in Circles podcast every Monday, the Big Monday Show with Chuck Simon. You can find me on Twitter at Urban Handicapper. That's URBN Handicapper. I'm there all day, every day. You can reach out. We could talk horses, talk anything. I'm always there. Got some other things in the works soon, so you may be seeing me around a little bit more often.
I love hearing that, and I know you're excited, as am I, as we got the NBA playoffs next week too. Oh,
Lakers, Lake Show.
Playing, and then playoff series start, so I'm pumped. We'll be going back and forth a lot about that. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time, Barry. Have a great weekend. Good luck tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for having me.
That is Barry, the Sniper, there, as we get set to bring in our next guest, buddy of mine who I've gone back and forth with on social media for years now. This gentleman who I'm about to bring in, Gabe Vartanian. I'm very excited to talk with Gabe. Gabe has Gabe actually created a Facebook group that I'm a part of, which is really cool. It's called Live and Breathe Horse Racing Group. And on this group, it's just horse racing talk. You get to share selections. You get to ask questions. You get to give opinions. You get to find selections from other people. If you need help with something, if you are a bettor or a horse player of any level, a beginner, if you've been around for a long time, this is a really cool group, as Gabe is the moderator there, because it's not a group where there's bullying. There's not a group where there's anything like political or any sort of other discussions. It's just good horse racing talk. Everyone tries to help each other out. Everyone tries to have fun and make some money. And Gabe, you do a great job with it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. You could hear me, right?
Yeah, got you good. Beautiful. You sound great.
Beautiful. Yeah. I don't like that I have to follow Barry. I mean, Barry's just so good, but it is what it is. But yeah, thanks for mentioning the Facebook group. Always appreciate when you pop in as well. Live and Breathe Horse Racing on Facebook, 5,800 strong, mostly active members as well. We don't have a lot of spam members.
No.
We vet everybody that comes in pretty much. So yeah, it's going well. And I think it's because it's a no nonsense, it's all handicapping all horses.
Yep, nothing else. And that's fine. That's just a perfect group for sharing ideas, throwing stuff off the wall. We got a lot of StableDuel players in that group too. Heck, there are a lot of weekends where you'll see people posting their where they stand in the StableDuel standings, and there'll always be 3 or 4 people from the Live and Breathe group that are up there. So
always.
We're going to do our best to help.
I see it all the time where you see the top 10 and 3 or 4 of them are Live and Breathe members. So
right, and we're just beating each other up right there in the group all the time. But I love seeing it. I love when I can see that people in the group are enjoying the game because it's fun. I know you are someone who anyone that follows you knows you're just a big sports fan. You bet on all sports and you like to play fantasy. And this is something that is very unique and something that's really cool for people like us who like to play daily fantasy stuff or like to bet or do prop betting, things like that. It's very similar to what other sports have, but we haven't had very many things like this in racing.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it because it is very similar to getting fantasy football or fantasy baseball, FanDuel, DraftKings, and so forth. You have to have your, the teams or players or horses. Sorry, see, I'm on sports.
But it's all the same. All the same, right?
Teams, players, horses. You can't just go favorite.
Yep.
Or highly priced horses. You got to pick a couple of prices.
Yep.
So that's why it's so wonderful.
Yeah, it's based on the salary cap format. So as Gabe was mentioning, you just cannot pick the most logical, obvious horse in every single race. Some of these races, you're going to have to say, okay, this is my price. This is where I hope I can shorten up a little bit and find a horse that'll hit the board and not get me any negative points. So, Gabe, I asked you for a couple horses to play. You've joined me before on That's What G Said. You and I have talked racing a bunch of time. You're a super sharp handicapper. You're a StableDuel player yourself. We got a fun weekend coming up with the Preakness. So let us know, where do we head for your first play on the Saturday Pimlico card?
Okay. The first play is going to be in the 5th race. I'm going to go with the number 5 going to the lead, $6,000. The reason why I like this horse, what I like to look at when I'm doing my StableDuel, I like consistent horses. I like horses who usually run their race. And as you know, as a horse player yourself and anybody who's listening that's knowledgeable with horses, a lot of times you'll have horses who are triers, horses that give you their best every time. And then you have horses who just kind of are not interested in running. So
inconsistent maybe, right? Good day, bad day.
Horses. In and out, or just they're just not in, they're not into it. So a horse like this going to the lead has ran 10 times, been in the money 9 out of 10 times. So I like that. Has speed. As we saw today, speed was great.
Yeah.
If you were on the lead today, that was a good thing. Proven at the track. So I'm going to, and also second off a short layoff. So I think he could improve off that race as well. So I'm getting a horse that is proven at the track, is going to be forwardly placed, and is priced at $6,000 as well.
Yeah. And that's right about what you need. Like when you're building your lineups, you kind of have to, in your head, think about it as I'm looking for about a 5,000 per race average or so, and so this puts you in a really good spot. You're looking right around that. So this race, you spend 10,000 one race, another race you're going to have to shorten up because you're going to be filling your $50,000 salary cap with 10 horses. So going to the lead, super consistent, second off the break, tactical speed, proven at Pimlico. A lot of things to like, and a very good StableDuel kind of horse because, like Gabe says, you just don't see really poor performances from him.
Yeah, and you want to avoid those minus 20s. So I think this horse is a good horse. You're not paying $9,000, $10,000. You're paying a decent $6,000. But I also think he's going to get bet too. I think this horse might be lower than 5-1. So
that's perfect. Yeah.
So I always look for underlays. If anybody's looking for some advice, I would say look for underlays, to get maximum value. And I think this will be one of them.
That is going to the lead, the 5 in race number 5 for Gabe. First play for one of his 3 stable duel plays for Saturday. Where do we head for your second play, Gabe?
I really like this one. And it's the 11th race, the race that Barry picked, the 1 horse Locky. I like his horse too. I was thinking about that horse. When I was doing my stable duel, I was kind of between Locky and this horse, but I like Frosted Grace.
Okay.
At 15-1. And only $500. Now, this is another consistent horse. 18 out of 23 times in the money. Has speed. And actually has speed, but doesn't need to be on the lead. Has shown that it could rate. Also, I think Frosted Grace has some secret class because she ran second in Mischievous Alex, who ended up winning the Grade 1 Carter.
Yeah.
So I think this horse has some decent class. 3rd race off a short layoff. Might have maximum effort. And for $500 in a field where I don't think this is a extremely
not at all
deep field, right?
No. There's no. You're right. It's not that. It's a contentious group, but it's not strong. There are no monsters. Nobody scares you away in here. Frosted, and what's great about a horse like Frosted Grace is, okay, yeah, he doesn't necessarily win all the time, but in a situation like this, where this horse is only $500, if he runs second or third here, that's all you want. That's all you need for a horse like that to be able to get your max value off of a $500 play here.
Exactly. You don't need to win. $500, I mean, if you get 20 points off $500, you're doing great. That's going to help you. And so you could spread later on with the big favorites.
Absolutely. That is race number 11 for Gabe. Frosted Grace. Only going to cost you $500 to use in your salary cap. So think about that. If that was one of your plays, you'd still have $9,500 to spend for your other 9 selections after making that one. So it's second play for Gabe. Won't cost you a whole bunch if you want to throw that one onto your lineup. Where do we head for your third and final, Gabe?
My third and final is a horse. When I was talking about underlays, I think we're going to get a very good underlay here. I do not expect 6-1 on this horse. And that is in race 12. Race 12, number 3, Curamata. Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz. You're not going to get 6-1 with those connections. I'm undefeated in America. One was the best horse in its race in Great Britain 2 years ago. Really coming up to its own. I really think this horse is going to be one of the favorites in the race, and we're going to be able to take advantage and only spend $5,000 in this race. So that's and I'm going to be betting this horse too. Not only in my stable duels, but I'm going to be betting this horse too. Curamata. And remember, these Irish breds have been winning left and right lately. Everywhere across the country, I'm seeing Irish breds performing well. So number 3, Curamata in race 12. And this is my favorite one because you're only spending $5,000, and I think you're getting $8,000 value at least.
I was going to say, I would not be shocked if this horse opens up first click and you see 5-2 right off the bat or something, something in that range. Because visually, he's been pretty impressive. He's now going to be making his 3rd start off of the long layoff. He should be set for his absolute best in here. Curamata, the number 3, the 3rd and final play from Gabe. Gabe, who is the moderator over in the Live and Breathe Horse Racing group on Facebook. If you are a horse racing fan, which you're watching this, I'd imagine you are, go right now and get involved in that group. I promise you'll love it. You'll meet some friends. You'll learn some things. It's a very respectful group, so you don't have to worry about anything bullying.
No bashing
going on. If you want to post a pic and your horse doesn't run well, don't worry. We're not going to rip you. No one's going to judge you. We're gonna have a fun. We'll have conversation, constructive criticism about it. It's one of my favorite places to check in and always see it. What everyone thinks about big races. Everyone thinks about big news in racing. I always appreciate you letting me post. That's what G said. Links and shows and stuff in there too.
Anytime.
I've had you on a few times and look forward to having you on again. Before we let you go, any overall thoughts on the Preakness race itself?
On the Preakness race itself, I'm going with Midnight Bourbon. I think Irad's going to have this horse right behind the leaders. I'm making a big stand against Medina Spirit. So I like Midnight Bourbon and Concert Tour in an exacta box. And I think maybe Keep Me in Mind might be a horse that could hit the trifecta and sneak in there as well.
Gabe, man, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. This was a blast.
Absolutely.
And look forward to chatting with you over the weekend. And I hope you make a ton of money out there, buddy. And big shout out to everyone watching over in the Facebook group. Thanks, everyone, for
Follow me on
watching
Track Gabe. Follow me on Track Gabe on Twitter.
At Track Gabe on Twitter. Follow Gabe over there and talk some sports with Gabe. Loves to talk football, baseball,
Absolutely.
racing,
Anything,
everything,
brother.
man. Thanks so much, Gabe. Good luck this weekend.
Got you, brother.
Okay, Gabe Vartanian there. One guest out. The next one coming right in. One of my best buddies here joining me. You hear this man with me each and every week on That's What G Said. You hear him on his show, Champagne and JD, where they cover the biggest races each and every weekend. And now he's going to help us out and give a few plays out for Saturday with the big StableDuel Preakness contest. Andrew, you first off, hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. This is a murderer's row lineup of guests you've got going. I've got a high bar to clear.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I messed around a little bit with some of the pulling up the graphics and stuff so that we could show some of the people how we build their lineup. So, I mean, I was always someone they used to refer to as talent. So for me, having to do this kind of stuff behind the scenes, this is a new world for me, you know?
I was going to say, yeah, I know JD will really appreciate that you're getting immersed in all of that because that's where he's at right now. But no, I'm really happy to be here. I think there's a lot of opportunities to make some money, and I'm really excited for the Preakness Day program.
Yeah, you have been someone who has been playing along with StableDuel from pretty much the very beginning, as I was kind of talking about with Gabe. You're just a big sports fan too. You've been involved in fantasy, DFS kind of stuff, and this was a unique, really fun way to have some action some days, and you can play in contests for as little as free all the way up to big contests. And I think one thing we've seen with StableDuel is they're starting to have more options as far as tracks, more options as far as size of contest with the entry fee, right? So it's pretty cool. If you are a large bettor, you know, you can play in like a $500 or $1,000 double up. If you're someone who only wants to spend $1 or $5 or 10 and maybe have some fun handicapping a card, it gives you a cool like few hours of excitement, action, and it's just something that's a little bit unique.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's a really fun complement to wagering that's already existing out there. And there have been times where StableDuel's running a game and it's prompted me to make additional wagers that I wouldn't have otherwise made. So It's a win-win for all involved. And if you're any track out there that hasn't adopted StableDuel or has been sort of hesitant in doing so, get on board. It's a lot of fun. There's not a lot in the way of drawbacks there. It's innovative people doing innovative things. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow to playing that game on StableDuel because there are a couple of ways I think in which you can zig where a lot of people are going to zag.
If you want some full analysis on the Preakness race in general, or even just curious on, a few people reacting to all of the news and everything that's happened over the last week with Medina Spirit, with Baffert, with the positives, with, all of the basically everything. Andrew actually joined me on my show, That's What G Said podcast earlier this week. We spent like an hour just as two guys who love racing and are passionate about racing, just sort of like hard on our sleeve, where we were sad, where we were disappointed, very emotional all over. If you want to hear that, you can check that out. And then Darren Zocali, our other buddy, joined us for a horse-by-horse preview of the Preakness. So we spend about an hour doing that too, giving you thoughts on each individual horse. So a lot of analysis out there. We're going to talk a little bit more in quick form here with a few plays throughout the card, Andrew. So where do we head for your first play on Saturday?
Sure. So I should probably lead into this with an explanation. You remember when I said I zig where other people zag? What's the big race coming up on Saturday?
The Preakness?
If you want analysis of who to take on StableDuel in the Preakness, I'm not your guy. I am going very far elsewhere because my thinking is if I can get a winner elsewhere on the card that other people may not have, because everyone's hell-bent on playing the Preakness, that is an edge for me. And being able to do that and being able to experiment that way means I'm going to focus pretty early on in the card with the three horses that I have. And Gino, I'm going to start right away in race number 1. This is the Sir Martin. And you're going to need to wake up pretty early for this one, especially if you're out here on the West Coast, because post time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific. Woo! So you're going to want to have your kid prepare to cry at like 7:15 so you can get your bets in.
I know, right? So where are we headed?
So here's a fun question. If number 4 Hozier is trained by anybody else, what odds is he?
Not 2 to 5.
No, not even close. Not even 5 to 2. Go higher. Go higher. I am all in against Hozier here, and my top selection breaks on the rail. I'm going to advise picking up number 1, the King Cheek, who's 5 to 1 on the morning line, so $6,000. Not bad. Not overly expensive. Won't break the bank. The King Cheek has never tried 2 terms before. I understand that. That is a logical hesitation. But I look at him and I see lone speed. I see drawing the rail. And what we saw today at Pimlico is you didn't necessarily have to be on the front end, but it sure as heck didn't hurt you. I think the King Cheek is going to have a chance to get out, get loose, and get brave. And Gino, his form looks an awful lot better if you conclude he doesn't like Aqueduct. If you can throw out those 2 races at Aqueduct going 7 furlongs, and even that race 3 back over a good listed track at Aqueduct where he was second, doesn't his form look a heck of a lot better? Give me the King Cheek stretching out in distance for a trainer that if you've got your DRF handy, go look at this stat. Sprint to route, 35%. I don't think Jamie Ness is just taking a shot here. I think the King Cheek has a big, big chance to get all the money and potentially give you an opportunity to gain points on those that are concentrating on the bigger races later on in the card. Biggest piece of advice I can give you, 60 points is 60 points, regardless of where you get it.
That is race number 1, the King Cheek. It's a short field, as you can see. And so, you beat Hozier in there right off the bat. That's a race where a lot of people are probably either going to be spending up, either skipping. You pick up some points right off the bat. You are in great, great shape early on in that StableDuel contest. And remember, we're talking about the big $20,000 contest that is a $100 entry fee, but there's also a free ride. And it's the same exact format. The contest is exactly the same thing. You're just playing into a contest that's free versus the $100 contest. So if you don't have a whole ton of cash, but you want to have some action, you want to watch some races this weekend, this is the perfect situation to do so. You can play a couple different entries for free too there. And we'll start right off the bat with the King Cheek for Andrew. Where do we head for your second one, buddy?
Sure. So I'm going to go to race number 5, and I'm a little bit nervous because I'm going against Gabe here. This is a really cool race, but it's one I think the morning line man got dead wrong. And for a different reason than what Gabe thought. I really like number 4 Fire Sword. I see 9 to 2. I see Wesley Ward. I see John Velasquez. I see 2 for 2 on dirt with a combined margin of victory above 9 lengths. This horse is not going to be 9 to 2. No chance at all whatsoever. I think you've got a chance to get a little bit of a bargain. Now, he's 9 to 2, so he's not overly cheap, but it's also not overly expensive. You pick him up, you pick up a $3,000 horse that's 8 to 1, and suddenly, boom, you're right back under budget. But I see a horse that just hated Turfway Park. If you draw a line through that horse's last race, Gino Fire Sword turns from 9 to 2 to about 9 to 5. I think Fire Sword is a must pick up in here. And again, it's a race early on in the card. If you're solely focusing on stakes races, which as handicappers we tend to do, we gravitate towards the stakes races because they've got better horses, bigger fields, whatever. But in StableDuel, you want to focus on opportunities regardless of where they are. And Fire Sword, if you like him, I think you're getting a steal at $6,500. John Velasquez riding in an early card race on a day where he's ridden the Kentucky Derby favorite in the Preakness. I think this horse is sitting on go.
We are talking about race number 5, Fire Sword, who is only 9 to 2 and will only cost you $6,500. Like, that's not that much to spend up in your lineup here at all. So play number 2 for Andrew comes in the 5th. At Pimlico. Where are we headed for your final of the 3 plays I asked you for on the Pimlico card on Saturday?
Sure. So we're just going to the very next race, race number 6. This is the Grade 3 Gallarette, and this is my one foray into the graded stakes world. So you have a 6-horse field in here. Mean Mary is going to be a very heavy favorite. If you like Mean Mary, I'm not going to try to talk you off of her. She's legitimate. But I see a horse trained by Chad Brown, ridden by Javier Castellano, and I see 12 to 1 in a 6-horse field, I see less than $1,000. I see only has to beat 1 horse in order to get me points.
A horse who wasn't disgraced by Mean Mary when they faced off a few years back?
Not at all. We're referring, of course, to number 2, Great Island. Great Island has only run 5 times, so there have been some issues over the years, but she's 3 for 5, and the 2 losses she's had, Gino, Mean Mary beat her once, Always Shopping beat her another time, and Always Shopping is a serious racehorse. Great Island, maybe she can't win. I don't think there's going to be a breakneck pace signed on, though I do think Mean Mary is going to get a little bit of pressure from Vigilante's Way on the inside. I think Vigilante's Way, second off the bench, is going to be a little bit sharper early on and be ridden a little bit more aggressively to where there's at least some pace. Now, is Great Island the first stringer in Chad Brown's barn in this race? No. Flighty Lady goes second off the layoff and had been running against some really good horses over in Europe. You see a couple of other good horses in this race. You see Feel Glorious, who just never seems to run a bad race. It's a good field. It's light on quantity, high on quality. But for me, I'm not looking for Great Island to win or get crazy. I'm looking for the horse to maybe run third, give me, 25, 27 points for a very minimal investment. And this is another case where I just don't think you're going to get 12-1. I think she'll come down a little bit. Not as much as I think Fire Sword will, but I still think you'll get maybe, 8-1 or so.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game. You want to be able to spot overlays where you can find them. And I think you can find one here in the Galleret with Great Island, who may not win, but she doesn't have to.
Andrew Champagne told you earlier on, doesn't have the strongest opinion really when it comes to wagering on the Preakness. If you want to hear some thoughts on the Preakness and our thoughts for everything else, check out That's What G Said podcast. And I believe tomorrow morning, Saturday morning early, you are going live in the morning with your podcast partner, JD, right?
We are 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Grab the coffee, have that ready. In my case, have the caffeine ready in the form of a Diet Coke or something. But join us. We'll be streaming on YouTube on our Champagne and JD channel. We'll also be streaming on Twitter, so you can catch us there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're sort of flying loose here because we scheduled this for a live thing on Saturday morning as opposed to a tape session Thursday night because, to be honest, we didn't know what the heck was going to happen between Thursday night and Saturday morning. There's still time for a lot of things to go off the rails as we record this on Friday night. So come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be handicapping some races and some sequences, hopefully giving out some winners and some good analysis. Hope you join us.
Hopefully Gimmick Andrew will make an appearance at
Gimmick Andrew made his one appearance. It's on my website. He's back in his hyperbaric chamber resting up for Saratoga.
Thank you so much, buddy. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good luck.
Take it easy, buddy. Cheers.
Andrew Champagne there helping us out. We will bring in our next guest. Very happy to have him join us. This man you see in the StableDuel standings all the time. He's one of the better StableDuel players out there. He's always winning contests, and I love going back and forth with him talking StableDuel. Alton Buzzle joins us again. How you doing, Alton?
I'm doing good, Gino. How are you doing?
Oh, doing very well. So, yeah, you are someone who, like me, just loves this game. Like, we're playing, doesn't matter which track, doesn't matter if we're playing in these free contests, the $1 or the bigger ones. I see you in there all the time, and it's definitely, like, helped me as a handicapper focus on having to get out, like, outside the box a little bit, right? You can't just pick chalk every race. You got to look a little bit more and be a little more creative. Just give us some of your overall thoughts about StableDuel and kind of how you got into playing this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like you. I mean, it's a great way to look at the races differently, right? And for me, it was a good way to look at races outside of NYRA. So I started playing about a year ago, back in August, and obviously don't have NYRA tracks yet at StableDuel. So it was kind of everything was foreign to me, and it was a good way for me to start to learn different tracks and different circuits, and just it's a blast, right? I mean, like you said, there's free games, there's $5 games, there's $1 game. I mean, no matter what your budget is, there's a game for you
every day of the week.
I mean,
Monday, Tuesday, like you name it, all different tracks, like all over the country. Just at the very beginning, there would be like one track one day, remember? And think about how,
Yeah, it's crazy. And now you log in and there's like 6 tracks on any given day, or minimum of like 3 tracks or 2 tracks on Mondays and Tuesdays. And I think that's just because of a lack of tracks being open on Mondays and Tuesdays more than anything. And it's just it's such a fun contest, and just it's great to think a little differently about when we're playing the horses, right?
Right. So, and on Saturday, we're going to talk about the Pimlico Contest for Preakness. And if you want to play at Pimlico, they've got a free ride. They've got the $100 contest that's brought to you by ClassicCars.com, which is a $20,000 prize pool. The winner gets $8,500 for your $100, which is just incredible. And then there are payouts for all the top finishers, so you don't have to necessarily just win to get paid big money. If you finish in the payoff positions, you will still get very well rewarded. They've got Santa Anita, Gulfstream, then on Sunday, Gulfstream, Lone Star, Golden Gate, and Santa Anita options for you. So even if you're playing more than the Preakness or playing more than Pimlico on Saturday, just tons of ways that you can make some money. But all I asked you for was a few plays for the Pimlico Saturday contest. So I asked if you had 3 plays that you could share with us. Where do we head for your first one?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start right at race number 1. Let's get out of the gate, and let's get right
out of the gate.
Let's try to find a little value right out of the gate here. When I look at this race, the number 3 market cap starts to come into my vision here. I feel like this is a horse that's going to get me some points in StableDuel. It's going to cost me $500 at 15-1. Jeremiah O'Dwyer's been hot the last few weeks.
Yes.
Lasix. This isn't a. I heard you guys were talking a little earlier about Hosier. That's not a 2 to 5 horse, right?
No.
That's a beatable horse.
Absolutely.
And you look at market cap. I mean, he's going to get you some points, I feel like. So starting off real light with the $500 kick to my budget, because we know that there's some guys down card that we're going to have to pay up for to get those wins.
Get Lasix for the first time, a horse who's run well over this track before. You got a barn who's rolling, plenty of things to like in a small field. And now, you only spend the $500 here. You've got plenty left to go. Same sort of situation I was saying. Now you got $9,500 left. You got 45,000 left of your 50. You only spent 5, and you've got 9 horses to go. You can really spread it out here.
Exactly. So I like market cap in the first race.
Okay. Where we heading for the second one?
Moving down now. This is where I'm going to spend up a little bit. Going down to race 8. Let me see here. It's the number 2 out of door at 7 to 5. So we're gonna spend $9,600. So we're taking that money back. But that's why we go with market cap in race 1.
Absolutely.
A horse that's going back to the turf. He's going to stretch back out a little bit, and I think he's going to like that a little bit. He was a little bit short last time out, and Irad and Wesley Ward on board. It's hard to go against that one.
It's a good spend up spot. Yeah, if you're going to spend up somewhere, you're going to have to eat somewhere. You're going to eat the big price, and this is the one for you, where you say, hey, now you put Altador with the horse you used in the first race, and you're on budget.
Exactly. On budget, and you got points. I mean, you should show up with quite a few points. I think Outdoor is gonna get you over that 60. I think this is a 67 point horse here. So it's totally worth the 96 if we can get that type of overage.
That's race number 8. Talking about the 2 Outdoor. Where do we head for your third and final play on the Saturday card?
Yeah, so next up, I'm looking at race 12, and Gabe kind of stole my thunder here. I also like Curamata here at 6-1. I don't think he's going off at that price at all. Chad Brown, Irad, they're winning at a 32% clip together. So I mean, you got to love that. And I think the way this race shapes up, it looks like the 1 and the 7 might try to get some speed, some early speed, and Curamata just. Love the way it finishes. So I feel like it's going to set up really well for Curamata to come through and again, get that win at $5,000 in StableDuel. You're not breaking the bank. You're getting those types of connections, and it just feels like a good play. I think Gabe's got it. I agree 100%.
Alton, before we let you go, any thoughts on the Preakness race? All the news, all the buzz, everything going on over the last week. Do you have a play or a horse you like in there? Any opinion?
Tons of thoughts and opinions, but we'll stick to the picks.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm going to play the exacta. I'm going to play the Midnight Bourbon Rumbauer exacta. I love the closing on Rumbauer and feel like he's going to come up towards the end. And Midnight Bourbon, I feel like is in a good position to really do something here. It'll be interesting to see. I kind of put that out there the other day on Twitter, not knowing where the Baffert horses would stand. It looks like they are going to run, so that might change, a little bit. We might have to make that a Rumbauer and concert tour or something, but I like Rumbauer at 750. If you're looking for a race where you want to throw the exact or play two horses in StableDuel, I feel like this is a good place to do it. Whoever you've got on top, throw some Rumbauer on there, $750.
Alton, man, thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining us here, and I always have fun talking with you. I always have fun going back and forth, and we're going to do this again. I think I'm going to start doing some more of these live streams when there are big contests on like the Friday nights before. We'll bring you back. We'll set everything up for the Saturdays, and good luck, man, tomorrow. I love when I'm not doing well. I like to see that your name is moving up the ranks at the very least. I'm always rooting for you.
I appreciate it. We'll see you at Preakness and everywhere else tomorrow, all the tracks.
Where can we follow you on social media?
At Husky Buzzle. So it's exactly the same as my stable in StableDuel. It's easy to remember. I'm the big guy, the big Buzzle.
At Husky Buzzle. Thank you so much, Alton. I really appreciate it. You have a great night.
Thanks, Gino. You too. Take care.
Okay, we have our final guest coming in right now. I believe we're able to get the baby to sleep. We're able to get the little one down to sleep for a little bit. Matt Sortino is going to join me from Into the Bit podcast. How you doing, Matt?
What's up, Gino, man? Little man sleeping finally.
Perfect. I know what that's like. So that's the most important thing. As long as we get him down, now we got to make sure we don't interrupt him. And I think he'd probably be the happiest if Pops is able to get some big money in the StableDuel contest tomorrow and finish in the money. I know you have been promoting it a little bit on your show as well. Before we get into some of the specifics, tell everyone out there about the show that you have, and you talk a lot of StableDuel stuff, StableDuel analysis on there. Let us know a little bit about it and where we can find it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Our show's called Into the Bit. We've been doing it for about a year. My partner Garrett Stubbs, he's at 54 to 1 on Twitter. Big pick 4, pick 5 player. Him and I sort of teamed up a year ago, and we host a weekly show. We usually break down a sequence, typically a pick 4, pick 5. We try to talk about the wagering, different tactics. And then since we've, sort of partnered up with StableDuel, now we've started talking about horses and sequences from a StableDuel standpoint. So specifically on this week's episode, we actually did the whole entire card, went through every race, and really gave our opinion on really every single race, but mostly from a StableDuel perspective, and talked a little bit about the late pick 5. So we typically record on Thursdays to get it out for Friday and Saturday. So our newest episode is all about tomorrow's card at Pimlico. So, download that. We would appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure to give that a listen. Great background noise while you're doing your handicapping and getting set up, putting your wagers together. So I asked you to have a couple plays for the Saturday card. You've already gone through it all on your podcast also. Where can we go for your first play?
Yeah, so I'm going to come right behind. I'm not familiar with the person who was on previously. Alton, right? So I'm gonna come right behind Alton, and I'm gonna give Alton some bad news because I'm gonna go to race 8, and I'm gonna tell him that Altador is gonna scratch out of that race.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you. So just some news when you're building your lineup to keep an eye on that. Altador would be out, and now that's very interesting for how you approach that race, right?
Exactly. So two of my races that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to look at it from a standpoint of, I think you have to play the races because of the fact of two big factors. In race 8, I think you have to now play this race, right? Altador was going to be 7 to 5, was obviously going to be most likely winner, was probably going to go off at even money. You scratch that horse out, the favoritism is going to go to the outside horse, Brad Cox, TD Dance, and you're going to get some value using that horse in StableDuel. But because of the openness now of that race, you have to play this race. And if you have, an opinion, you've got a fire here. And I really like the one down on the inside here, Indian Lake. This horse is 10-1 on the morning line, $1,000 in StableDuel. You scratch out Altador. This might be one of the only two horses in the field that want to go to the lead.
Yeah.
Jamie Ness is a trainer that, for the most part, seems to fly under the radar in terms of being at the biggest tracks. He does a lot of his damage sort of at Parks,
Mid-Atlantic stuff. Yeah.
Mid-Atlantic, right?
Yep.
But the reality of it is he's a high percentage trainer. I don't know how he does it one way or the other, but he's a high percentage trainer. And when he hooks up with Rodriguez, they usually are clicking 25-30%. This horse 10-1, there's not going to be 10-1 with Altador. So you're locking in value from a StableDuel standpoint by putting this horse in your lineup. I love Indian Lake in this spot, based purely on value. Might not win the race, but value.
And I mean, the way the race shapes up now too, with Altador out of there, you're probably thinking like maybe Arzak goes and Indian Lake sits second, right? The inside, save all the ground from the inside, track, and you're just like, are you good enough? But you should have every opportunity. And if if Altador's out of here and you're playing a 10-1 shot, who's now, I mean, cut in half, 6-1 at the most, you would think, Yeah.
Yeah, and this horse has won 2 in a row. It's the downside on Indian Lake, and the only reason why I think maybe 10-1 and why it will get ignored a little bit is its first turf, right? So it's picking a weird spot to go first turf. But the breeding suggests that turf shouldn't be an issue here. I think Jamie Ness, knows what he's doing. This horse has never missed the board. 12 starts, 4 wins, 5 seconds, 3/3. Never missed the board. From a StableDuel standpoint, where you get points for hitting the board, this horse to me is an absolute must include.
So we were talking about the 8th race at Pimlico, and we were talking about the one right here, Indian Lake, who at 10-1 on the morning line will only cost you $1,000. And keep in mind that Altador, who is 9,600 and the heavy favorite, is going to be scratched out of this race. So again, in StableDuel now, this is one of those races, like Matt's saying, you have to play because there's so much of an advantage for you in this race just based off of where you have to buy a horse. Every horse that you're going to be purchasing is going to be value based on their purchase price. So this, even if you don't like the horse that Matt likes, I think the opinion that Matt shared that you should listen to is make sure this race is in your lineup, because whoever you like, you will get a much better value on them than you would have had Altador been in there. So really good point on that one, Matt. Where do we head for play number 2?
Same kind of philosophy. I'm going to go to race 1. Because, again, I believe this is a race you have to play. There's only 6 horses in the field. Hosier is going to be 2-5 on the morning line, is probably maybe even going to go off worse than that. But someone has to run second here, Gino. Right? And you're going to get a lot of value from a StableDuel standpoint. I would never spend $14,000 on Hosier. I don't even think Hosier lays over this field, frankly. I think 2-5 is a little crazy. But I think you can make a case for using any of these horses because, and I think Alton was talking about possibly using the 3 market cap here, which I think you can make a case for anything because the salaries are so low. If they can run second or third, you're going to get a great amount of points, right, in perception to the value that you're spending. I'm going to go back to Jamie Ness here on the 1, King Creek. This is a loose lead from the inside. Again, it's Jaime Rodriguez, it's Jamie Ness. They pair up, they win. You're getting $6,000, 5-1. I think this horse is probably going to be your third choice in the wagering. No one else wants to go to the front end. This horse is going to play Catch Me If You Can at the top of the stretch. This King Cheek will be in the lead at the top of the stretch. Will give you a chance to win. We'll find out if Joel can run him down. But I think, again, great value considering there's only 6 horses in this field.
The one to catch and beat, no doubt about it. The number 1, the King Cheek. And race number 1, right off the bat, Andrew Champagne also mentioned the King Cheek too, as he just said, excuse a couple of the Aqueduct races. He just doesn't seem like he loves Aqueduct all that much either. You're going to stretch it out. This is the horse to catch and beat, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, really dangerous on the front end here, I think. And I didn't plan on telling you that 2 Jamie Ness horses, but it's just the way
yeah, right.
Out. I'm a Pennsylvania guy, and he's a Pennsylvania trainer, so I guess that's the way it's going to be.
So one more play from Matt on the Saturday Preakness StableDuel big contest. Where do we head for your final play?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you my best bet on the card because to me, this one really stands out. It's in race 2. And again, you're going to pay for this one, and it's going to be on the morning line favorite. But the 10 Oceans Map in here, I absolutely love this horse. I think everything sets up perfectly for this horse. It's a jockey upgrade to Jose Ortiz. Should sit, a forwardly placed trip in a race that does not have a lot of pace. If you watch the replay on Oceans Map, absolutely brutal trip in the last, running against a similar good allowance field to what the horse is going to catch here. Just a no chance trip, multiple stops, broke slow. Obviously we have to break a little bit better here, but I'm paying up for Oceans Map. This is my pick of the day, frankly.
This is a horse who should be like 7-5, and that's same type of situation where 3-1 actually feels good for a horse like this, who really does. I agree. Like, I thought this was a horse who kind of towers over this field, and it's a bigger field. So this is not a horse that people probably don't want to pay up in a big field like this, just from like a stable duel standpoint. So this is like a zig when people zag. Sometimes the favorite in a race, when everyone else is spreading out, the favorite will actually be value.
Yeah, and I just didn't really like much else in
Nobody
here,
else,
frankly. I just didn't, this horse fits perfectly in this field. Yeah, it's faced better. That allowance at Gulfstream, is a better race than I think most of that are in here. I do think, like you said, 3-1 is probably a dream. This horse is probably going to be 9-5. I think Ortiz, Jose is going to draw a lot of attention, but there just isn't a lot other in here. There was a couple of horses that I actually liked in here from a stable duel standpoint if I wasn't going to use the 10, or even if you wanted to double up. I think Operative, the 7 at 10-1 is an interesting horse. There was a few. There was a few in here that I thought were interesting, but I really would be surprised if the 10 doesn't run a very good race here and win. And we previewed it on our show. Garrett and I agreed this, because the pick 5 actually starts in race 2. The early pick 5 starts in race 2 tomorrow. We're thinking about singling the 10 here and just starting our pick 5 with Oceans Map.
This is going to be a really, really tough horse to beat in the early part of the Pimlico card for Saturday. Matt, before we let you go, and fingers crossed that we kept the baby asleep throughout this. So do you have any overall thoughts on the big race itself? Who do you like in the Preakness? Is it a betting race for you, or more of just a watching race? Give us a quick thought on it.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think the field is just really soft. That's just the reality. It's not a great race. I think Concert Tour, what I said to Garrett on our show this week is Concert Tour's last race is too bad in a way to be believed. I think Concert Tour coming into this race reminds me a little bit of Mandaloun going into the Derby, where everybody was kind of harping on the last race, but smart people were saying it's too bad to be believed. This horse is better than that. And Mandaloun ran a big effort. I kind of think Concert Tour is the same way. It wasn't the best effort in the Arkansas Derby for Concert Tour. Got caught up in a pace situation that it probably didn't want to be in. They gave the horse a break. They're going to run it here. I like Concert Tour. Medina Spirit, if runs on the front end and gets loose again, could probably win. But I'll probably put most of my play through Concert Tour. I actually like the early part of the Pimlico card though, more than the late part. I think Garrett and I are actually going to be there tomorrow at the Preakness. So I think late in the day we'll just be maybe just enjoying the scenery as opposed to wagering.
Matt, really appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to get you on That's What G Said sometime to handicap a card, go through it. We can talk a little bit about your show and just get some background on you, how you got into racing, everything. I'd love to elaborate on the conversation a little bit more.
Anytime, man. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate that. Thank you to Matt. So we are going to take a look at the big contest for tomorrow. It is $20,000, folks, and it costs you $100 to get involved in the StableDuel contest. So